Mammoths are immense beasts, so they weighed anywhere between 5 to 7 tons, and they also had lengths of over 13 feet. And even some of the largest species of mammoth weighed twice as much as an elephant. So, definitely some very fascinating facts in regards to mammoths. And then you also have to consider, too, as well, is that the planning, patience, and coordination that it took to hunt down one of these massive animals was basically the stepping stone to advancing human civilization. So, definitely a very interesting perspective on how the woolly mammoth was basically a catalyst for advancing the human civilization. So, let's go ahead and jump into some of these fascinating accounts of the possible woolly mammoth. So, the first instance of this would be from a French diplomat that was stationed in Vladivostok. So, basically, he told of an encounter of a Russian trapper that saw a herd of hairy elephants deep within the taiga. So basically, the taiga is a region between the tundra to the north and then also the temperate forest to the south. And what made this sighting really plausible was due to the fact that this trapper had no concept of mammoth. And then also within that same year in 1920, a Russian explorer was leading an expedition through a region called Waikutia when all of a sudden he saw a massive reddish brown creature emerge from the forest. And this creature had massive curving tusks. So basically, this massive creature waded across the river and basically vanished. And this explorer spent his whole life trying to convince people, skeptical people, that what he saw was an actual specimen. And then you also can't forget in 1948, a crew of Soviet aircraft were flying over the same region within Waikutia when down below they saw a herd of woolly mammoth looking creatures. And then in 1978, a group of geologists were doing some excavations on a remote Siberian river when all of the sudden they saw a herd of a dozen mammoths calmly drinking from the water edge. So these geologists observed these mammoths for a few minutes, then all of a sudden they kind of just strolled off into the forest. So now that we've finished these fascinating sightings of the possible woolly mammoth, let's jump into some shocking evidence that proves that woolly mammoths may have not went extinct. So, the first piece of evidence would be some mysterious footprints within northeastern Siberia. So basically, a hunter ran across some massive footprints that basically had the measurements of being 27 inches in width and then 20 inches long. And they knew that these footprints could have not have came from any known animal on Earth. So this hunter followed the footprints for a few days, and then he ran into a piece of shocking evidence, and that was splintered and smashed trees at a height of about 10 feet. So he knew that whatever animal made these massive smashes and splinters of trees up to 10 feet, he knew that what he was dealing with could not be defeated with the tools that he had. So he knew no amount of fire power that he had on him would make any difference with this massive beast. So he had to turn around. And then also, the most recent fascinating piece of evidence came in 2015. So a group of researchers received some very strange seismic readings along with some smashed equipment. So the data showed that the seismic readings were from a rhythmic footfall. So they knew it had to have came from a massive living creature. And when they actually showed up to the site, they saw that their equipment was smashed by an unknown force. So, definitely some fascinating sightings, along with some very credible evidence that really makes you wonder if these beasts still exist into modern day times. But another aspect to this whole situation, too, as well, is that this region throughout Siberia and Alaska is literally littered with well preserved specimens of these woolly mammoths. And a lot of these woolly mammoths still have a lot of the flesh and hair still intact. And one of the main reasons for this is due to the fact that the region is very cold. So whatever dies off, it becomes very well preserved. And this creates the perfect storm and the perfect opportunity for being able to possibly replicate these animals and bring them back from extinction. So, what scientists are doing is that they're combining the woolly mammoth with the closest relative species in order to create these hybrids. And the closest species similar to the woolly mammoth would be the Asian elephant. So, scientists plan to create hybrids from woolly mammoths and Asian elephants, and basically, the hybrids will look exactly like the extinct woolly mammoth. Now, there is a whole lot of controversy in regards to this topic because a lot of people say that it may be unethical to bring back animals that are extinct. It's kind of like natural law. There may be a reason for why a certain species went extinct. And then if they have the right idea of reintroducing these extinct species back into the wild, it could cause the whole ecosystem to collapse. But definitely a very fascinating new frontier in regards to scientific technology and advancements. But as we progress further into the future and as our technology becomes more advanced, you can definitely see some more moral and ethical lines being blurred because as we progress more and more into the future, we're kind of challenging natural law a lot more. And what's even more fascinating is that it's going to be pretty amazing to see where we'll be within the next 10 to 20 years in regards to this technology. I can definitely see how there soon can be, an actual Jurassic Park because it's pretty amazing to see where humans have came in only 50 to 60 years. It wasn't too long ago when our main transportation system was basically horses. So we've went from riding horses to putting people on the moon within a short time frame, and it's going to be pretty amazing to see what we'll be able to do with this type of technology, cloning technology, within the next 10 to 20 years. So, definitely a very fascinating topic to consider. It's definitely very controversial, but it would be pretty cool to see a lot of our extinct species being mixed with modern day species in order to create these hybrids. But thank you for watching the one and only Twilight Mysteries. And we talk about a lot of interesting topics, and we're only going to get more interesting. So, thank you for staying tuned and listening. Bye.